Subscribe now. Join the empire. Von Allen Sports. Let's go!
Sports.
Do you guys know how these guys get treated in college? These quarterbacks, they don't just become high prospects in college once they get there. Tom Brady is a rarity. Guy barely makes it the team in Michigan, gets on there. He's seventh string. That doesn't happen. He's the exception. But the rule is these guys were groomed from very young. So they played pee-wee football, junior football. They played high school football, and they were probably good then. And all of you guys know, especially as guys, if you can play quarterback in high school, and if you're good, your life is a lot different. You're treated like a celebrity at school. You're like the it thing. You're the man. It may be a small little world, your little high school, but it's your world. And for the students there, it's the whole world. And you are the leader of it. You're the guy that everyone loves and you're king, right? And then these colleges come to your house. Famous college coaches that everyone knows comes to your house and is sitting in your living room with your parents, trying to convince your parents why you should be at their university. When you're 17, 18 years old, it's kind of hard not to get arrogant.
Yeah.
When you see famous college coaches sitting in your living room begging your parents to have you sign with them. Then you get to college and everything is even bigger. The whole university is handed to you, but now, not just the university, they put you on Sports Center. They get you to interview on big shows that professionals get to do. You are basically a de facto professional football player, except you're not getting paid. But in every other sense, you are. You're playing in front of 80,000 people at sold-out games. You're doing all the big interviews. You're wearing all the Nike clothes and the endorsement stuff. You're getting free shit. You're getting free shoes, free shirts, free everything. Everywhere you go, people love you. You're signing autographs after every game. You're a de facto professional. By the time you get drafted, you must think you are a freaking god. And then when we pamper these little fucks, by the time they get to the NFL, we're all sitting there going, why are they so arrogant? Why are they acting like this? Why are they demanding all this stuff? What's their problem? Oh, maybe it has something to do with you kissing their ass since they were 5 years old. How about that?
Yeah.
There's your answer. And then you have the rare guy who is a son of an athlete, probably an accomplished athlete, who gets it because their dad probably had to work through the trenches to get there. And he instills in his son how to be a pro. And that's someone like Mahomes, okay? His father was a baseball player, professional baseball player. So Patrick grew up and his dad instilled in him how to be a professional. This is what you got to do. This is what it takes. This is how you conduct yourself. This is how you handle things in the media. But these other kids, the Matt Leinerts of the world, he ain't got respect for anybody. I bring up Matt Leinart because he was drafted to the Cardinals. He told some of the guys in the locker room, he told Edgerrin James he would be doing everything Kurt was doing. Kurt took that shitty team to a Super Bowl. And I mean, the team was good, but I'm talking about the organization. The Cardinals organization historically was shit. And then he was going behind his back and telling guys like Edgerrin James, hey, it's not that big of a deal. I would be doing that. In fact, this would become, well, why didn't you do that, Matt, when you had the team? Because you were the starter first. Kurt was actually his backup. And then you sucked. You're the guy that lost to the Bears on Monday Night Football in front of everybody after you had a lead because you sucked so bad. That guy. He thought, I'm the quarterback of USC. I'm the greatest thing that California's ever seen. Watch a documentary about the USC Trojans and the Texans Longhorns about that year. There's a good documentary on Netflix about it. Lindell White said that, man, we were rock stars. They were being invited to red carpet events in Hollywood. They were celebrities, man. They're just kids. They're just 18, 19, 20 years old. They're babies. Imagine, guys, right now when you see a 19, 20-year-old, what do you think about them? You're like, wow, they're so young. They got so much ahead of them. These people were being treated like that while going to school. So Matt Leinart thought he was God. And he comes into the Cardinals locker room and he doesn't know what it is to lead. He's got Kurt in that locker room. And that dude and Kurt was working his ass off every single day. Kurt was on the practice field. Super Bowl MVP. If anybody has earned the right to fuck off, it's Kurt Warner. And what happened? Kurt took his job. Was Matt a good quarterback? Sure he was. That's why he got drafted. All these guys are good quarterbacks in college. I mean, that's why they get picked. With a few exceptions, of course. It's the mind. It's the decision making. That is what ruins their career. That's what derails them. Almost always. Of course, you got exceptions with crazy injuries, and that's not what I'm talking about. Like RG3, for example. RG3 got fucked over, okay? That wasn't his fault. He could have been a great pro, but he's not who I'm talking about. There's too many Matt Leinerts, okay? There's too many Matt Leinerts and not enough Tom Bradys. Not enough guys who had to crawl, scratch, and claw their way up. Then there's Chris Sims. Oh, God. So let's talk about Chris Sims. Remember when I said sometimes you can grow up and have that kind of life where things are set up good for you. And because your parent is an athlete or somebody like that,
easier.
It makes it easier, right? It makes it easier. But you can choose to use that and do what it takes to be great. There's two types of guys. There's Patrick Mahomes type. His dad taught him how to be professional, and he follows that, right? There's the Peyton Manning, and hell, even Eli Manning, okay? They're the son of Archie Manning, who isn't even a Hall of Famer. He was on a terrible Saints team. Good quarterback, pretty good quarterback, but, you know, nothing Hall of Fame worthy or anything like that, okay? Never played in the Super Bowl or anything, but taught his kids how to play. Peyton and even Eli, even the Derp, won 2 Super Bowls. And then you've got Chris Sims. Chris Sims. You grew up in the locker room of the New York Giants. And this isn't just the New York Giants. This isn't just any New York Giants. This is Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick's New York fucking Giants. Your dad is Phil Simms. Your dad is a Super Bowl MVP. You get pampered all the way through your childhood. You go to college. You get to pick where you want to go. So you go to Texas. You play with Mac Brown. And everyone is saying that you are the next Peyton Manning.
What happened? What happened?
What happened is he's Chris Sims. That's what happened. You suck. He sucks. Right now,
Is it just talent that he's lacking, or he was lacking, or
it's mentality. It's mentality. He believed in his own hype. He bought into it. He didn't think he had to earn it. He didn't think he had to work for it and lead for it. But the dude had the world handed to him right there. You couldn't have a better advantage. You couldn't have a better situation. I mean,
access to all of that?
Eli and Peyton weren't even sons of a Super Bowl MVP. What the hell? Even Eli and Peyton didn't get to hang out in a locker room around Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin and Lawrence Taylor and guys like that. I'm sure they got to hang out with the Saints. Some, or not even Eli. I don't even think Eli was born yet. But Peyton was. He's probably too little to even remember. But then you've got the Chris Sims of the world. Total failure. And why is he a bigger failure than other quarterbacks who fail? Because he had a head start.
Yeah.
He had the head start and he squandered it. These other guys had to get there and work for it, and they didn't have everything always that Chris had. Chris had the advantage, and you couldn't even make it. You couldn't even last. And the only reason you even got to play for Tampa Bay is because your dad is Phil Simms, and that's why you've got a job on NBC. So he's still cashing in on daddy's name. As a lot of you guys probably know, I was a big fan of Drew Bledsoe. I didn't want to let go of Drew when Tom Brady took his spot. And I'll admit that. And I was a Drew Bledsoe guy through and through. And when Drew didn't get his job back during the regular season after he was healthy, I was very confused. Very like, what the hell's happening here?
Disappointed.
Just, I was mad at Belichick. I thought Bill Belichick is a dipshit. You know, like, who does he think he is? I'm a 90s Patriots fan. That's the Bill Parcells, Drew Bledsoe Patriots. And Drew comes in the second half of the AFC Championship game in Pittsburgh and finishes that game and we win and we go to the Super Bowl. Up until then, I still thought Drew was going to get the job. He's going to get his job back. And he never got his job back. But as the years went by, we started to find out more information that had come out. Drew didn't help his situation. He refused to buy into Belichick's, the way he wanted to coach, which was, through you, I'm going to chastise you. I'm going to hold you accountable more than anybody else in the locker room. And you more or less are going to filter that through, and everyone else is going to see that and take notice. Now, it's not something Bill probably says literally, it's just something that happens. It's just what's expected. Bledsoe didn't want any part of that. Why? Well, he was the number 1 pick overall. He was the face of the Patriots. He's the guy who brought them out of the old Pat the Patriot losing, that they were losing a lot in the late 80s and early 90s. And he brought in with the new logo and the new look and everything. That was Drew. Drew feels like he was the rock of that. And this guy, Belichick, wants to belittle him and do something that you're not supposed to do to a starting quarterback. And not just a starting quarterback, but a guy who was number 1 overall and who was just paid $100 million. And then you've got Tom Brady, who was on a high school team that never won a game, and he didn't even get to play. He was on a University of Michigan where he was 7th stringer, and then by the time he got to play, he kept being pulled during the game, and then it would have to go back in for Drew Henson, who, by the way, was a Matt Leinart type. The type I was talking about, the one that gets everything handed to him. And yeah, Drew Henson was a talented guy, but he was being given chances that Tom wasn't being given. And Tom had to deal with that. By the time Tom got to New England, he was willing to do what anybody told him. Yes, sir. No, sir. Absolutely. Bill wanted to do it that way. Tom says, okay, let's do it that way. No ego. No, I'm the greatest. How can you talk to me that way? How can you do that to me? Don't you know who I am? That kind of shit. Tom didn't have that. Drew did. And look what happened. Let's suppose that Drew bought in 2000. Maybe he does get his job back after he gets injured. Maybe he does. Because a part of the reason why Bill was looking at Tom in 2001, he went ahead and started Drew anyway, but he was looking at Tom because of the 2000 season, because there was already tension with Drew Bledsoe. But if that tension wasn't there, if Bledsoe bought in and they maybe had a better record, maybe that changes things. Maybe not. But I do know this, ego had something to do with it. Drew didn't want to be treated just like another guy, and Tom was willing to. And that's pedigree right there. That's upbringing. That's how you were taught as a person. It's also what you had to give up and what you had to sacrifice to get there. And these new guys, these kids, they don't, most of them. And this isn't a new thing, by the way. This is a thing that has been going on there's always been that superstar kid who gets everything handed to himself, but now it's worse than it's ever been before. And the reason it's worse now than ever before is because of social media. Because once you're famous, you're mega famous. Famous, like crazy famous. And it's just everything is bigger. And that's when you get the Cam Newtons of the world and people like that. That's what happens. Guys who aren't willing to jump on a fumble in a Super Bowl when you were on a drive that could have taken the lead and you don't jump on it. Those kind of guys. Or Tom Brady who jumps on a fumble in the preseason. And the other guy? No, I don't feel like getting on it. I don't think so. It's not worth it.
Walsh is so legendary that every NFL coach calls his book the Coach's Bible.
I am familiar with the book. I've read it.
This is an amazing book. This book is hard to find.
If you try to buy it on eBay, you're talking about $100 or more.
This book is really about how to manage and get the best out of people.
Every football coach should have it. I'd be surprised if they don't.
What I learned from reading this book would be some of the things behind the scenes that, I would have no way of knowing unless they were explained to me.
As close to scripture as you can get for a coach, right?
It's the Bible of football coaching.
It's a great book. It should be required reading for every football coach.
It definitely gives you an edge against others. A major edge, actually, I would say. However, it's extremely hard to get your hands on. A hard copy will set you back all the way up to $450. Even getting a digital copy of the book is extremely hard to find, even if you're willing to pay for it. However, we did all that work for you, and you can have your very own digital copy of The Winning Edge by Bill Walsh. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel first. Now, the link is in this video's description below, but don't forget to subscribe first.
What this book reminds you of is how meticulous Bill was and how thought out everything was and how specific he was.
The scheduling, down to the minute of this is the way the player's day is going to go.
Utilization of formations, personnel groups.
How your plays should be in a minicamp practice when you only have helmets.
Practice schedules, off-season programs, draft, evaluation, everything is in this book right here.
So then Bill decides, well, no, we gotta have X's and O's in there.
You're watching Von Allen Sports. Subscribe now and join the empire. Von Allen Sports, let's go!
Von Allen Sports.